I currently have a R.E.P.O run higher than level 125, and if there's one question I get asked during the stream the most, it's how I reach these high levels. Most people get stuck in the level 1 to 20 range, so here are some strategies on getting past those levels consistently. Starting off with the sweaty strategy is stacking all your strength on one player. At 4 strength, you can pick up most enemies, and at 13 strength upgrades, you can just pick up and bully any enemy in the game. A really simple way to do this is blocking certain upgrades from spawning, so you force 2 strength upgrades every shop. Meaning at around level 4, you can already pick up most tier 2 enemies that are annoying like Rugrat and Animal. To do this, make sure to try and buy at least 7 upgrades that you plan to not use. Just save those for the time being. I like to buy speed, tumble launch, map player count, and range upgrades as those aren't too awful to live without. Now that you have 7 upgrades, you do not use these extra upgrades, you just leave them in the truck. The map player count you actually can use because it can't respawn, there's only ever one of them, but everything else just leave in the truck. Now, next time you go back to the shop, there will always be 2 strength upgrades. Buy the strength upgrades every shop, put them on one player, and have that player basically act as a bodyguard playing with the team. They should be helping out with entities and moving large objects as the rest of the team will be struggling with this. The players without strength upgrades should have drones such as Zero Gravity Drone, Indestructible Drone, and Feather Drone so that they can move the larger objects when the strength player is not around. The more difficult but fun way to play is still focusing on strength upgrades but splitting them amongst your team. Get one player to 4 strength, then start giving strength to the next player until they are at 4 strength as well, and then just continue the cycle. This will force your team to work together more, keeping the later levels fresh, but still allowing you to get further in the game, and this way each player can kind of deal with enemies on their own. Because let's be honest, in the current update, strength upgrades are overpowered. So stacking strength is good to help you set up for late game, but this doesn't fully cover the super early game where enemies like hunters can be a huge issue. This is where stun grenades and regular grenades come into play. Your very first shop, you should be trying to stock up on these items as they are always going to be around 3k no matter what level you are on. They're very cheap and very useful. So if you're in a tough spot or just have an enemy you want to get rid of, you can use the stun grenade on the enemy and just pick it up and slam the enemy up and down for its orb. Because orbs are around 3k and higher, this will pretty much always pay off. As for grenades, they do about 150 to 200 damage, so not fully killing enemies such as the rogue or huntsman, but great for tier 2 enemies and lower like the bowtie or chef. Trank gun or baseball bat are other great affordable options to have if you see it in the shop that can help you quickly get rid of enemies. And the players that are not playing the strength role should be having these items. Sometimes grenades won't always kill, so you can finish them off with other objects by just scroll wheeling the object into the enemy. This goes into the next advice of using the valuables around you. Scrolling out valuables to hit enemies is always worth it and super useful. When you hit an enemy with an object, the object will take damage, but so will the enemy. Depending on the enemy, you might need a medium object in order to stun them. But you may be surprised that annoying enemies like the chef, animal, rugrat, and hidden can all be stunned and killed with small valuables. Additionally, there's a lot of really good medium objects that don't take a lot of strength to pick up, such as the clown, red flask, goblin statue, and large arctic containers to name a few. Using these, you can easily kill headmen or huntsmen, which are the more dangerous enemies in the game. Even if you don't get the value back from the enemy's orb after killing it, you can still get rid of the enemy and put it on a respawn timer, which makes getting through the level much easier. Speaking of respawn timers, there's a trick that my duo and I use all the time, which is focusing on killing enemies earlier rather than later. Killing enemies early on rather than later is extremely helpful because they go on a longer respawn timer. When killing an enemy in the first 10 minutes of the level, they go on a respawn timer that is about 15 minutes long. So in other words, if I kill a spewer at the start of the level, I won't see that spewer again for another 15 minutes. Of course, this changes with the rule of items that make sound. When items make sound, enemies will move towards that room, and the enemies on respawn timers will have their duration shortened or will instantly respawn depending on the item. Really, the only items to worry about are the animal box and saw blade. Only move these items at the end or if you desperately need the money, as they will almost certainly respawn the enemies that you have killed or despawned. Speaking of despawning, you can actually force enemies to despawn, which is amazing on levels 1 to 3 when you don't really have anything to kill the higher tier monsters. Going about 2 rooms away from an enemy and waiting about 20 seconds, you can despawn that enemy. So if you find a headman deep in the level, then run back towards spawn and hang around there for a little while, it will actually just disappear and you won't have to deal with it for a couple minutes. Of course, understanding everything such as enemy behavior and spawning is important, so for more in-depth explanations I urge you to check out my other guides for extra help if you're curious or struggling. But overall, playing more and learning different ways to deal with the enemies is going to help you a lot. For upgrade preferences, I prefer around 4 range, 1 to 3 speed, 3 tumble launch, and as many extra jumps and stamina upgrades as possible. Map player count should also go on the player with the highest strength. Here's a quick demonstration of a level I played solo where I'll basically just walk through my thought process. Alright, so here we are, level 3. I have 0 upgrades, but I do have a stun grenade from the shop. And to start off, what we're just doing is we're going to get all these objects that are close by, close to the truck. We're going to try and prevent from going too deep too fast. So by playing shallow and kind of just getting all these objects that are by the truck, we are essentially keeping enemies at bay. At the start of the round, enemies will be AFK. Oh, okay. Hey, man. Except for like some special cases. So this is kind of just a rare scenario where the enemy is pretty active early on. But now we know we have a chef. And a spewer. What we can do is, because we know we have a chef, we can just get our small item. Really just bully it. I just grabbed a nearby small item. Boom. Chef done. And now we just don't have to deal with him for like 15 minutes. We're going to do the same thing to the spewer. Look at that. Oh, rope here. We want to turn around, get safe. That's pretty bad. Amen. So I'm gonna go into this table. He's probably gonna come in, path by. Yep. And we're gonna head right on back. Now, I know I don't have the strength to stun and pick up the robe. If I had like 1 strength, maybe. So we're just gonna have to play around that. So we lost our $600 money, but look, we got 4,000 from it. And with the same money valuable, we got another 2,800. So really, really worth to use valuables as weapons. They're going to help you out a lot in the early levels. Robe again, really, just get alone. All right, here, I'm going to try and despawn it. It's been a little bit in the level. If I chill back here, oh, we do have a grenade too. Okay, maybe we do a little grenade comp. I'm gonna chill back here for a little bit. Maybe I can just despawn it. Let's head on back out. Still gonna try and be aware. I think it's despawned by now. We do have a clown. Look at that. A server too. Damn, we got so much money. Not enough strength. That's all right. We'll work on it. Now these saw blades, I'm gonna be careful about touching. Yeah, like I'll put it in this extract. I won't touch it now because that is gonna make probably that frog I killed and the spewer respawn. Don't want that. It's also gonna maybe attract the robe or respawn it if I did despawn the robe. Alright, not too strong, but we can just use this rotate trick. Rotate it in our cart. Beautiful. And this will be first extraction done. I don't really plan on killing the robe with the clown, but if I did have something like the headman, I might want to take that clown out and use it. But I'm gonna go ahead and just sell it for now. We're pretty much already done, because we already know one of these servers fulfills. Now I'm not gonna min-max and get all the loot on the map for this demonstration. Just trying to give the general thought process of when I encounter these enemies and what I'm trying to do. Okay, we got the saw and the server That is good. Now we're just gonna head back. Again, we want to keep in mind that all the enemies are gonna spawn right at the truck. So they're gonna be in front of us. Look, boom. Robe is already on us. However, not turning around till now. Just gonna get a quick loop around. We're gonna have the frog here. We can just duck under him. Ouch. That's alright. Kind of annoying. This robe. Alright, they're both behind me now. Spear doesn't matter. We can kind of just run by. There it is. Easy enough. Hello, robe. If you enjoyed the video, drop a sub and look forward to the video soon on an impossible challenge we attempted for R.E.P.O. Have a good day, and I hope to see you over at the Twitch.